Okay, direct proportion. Direct proportion is nothing more than a straight line. So we're thinking from grade 8, y equals mx plus c, but because it goes through the origin, there's no c, or c is 0. So it's just a little different, but also just pretty basic as well. So you remember with a straight line, we have this pattern in a table of values. So let's get into some direct proportion speak. What we need to find is what's called the constant of proportion. Constant of proportionality. That was harder than it should have been. Okay, constant of proportionality means what's happening to x to get to y. I'm multiplying 1 by 3. Can you see I'm multiplying by 3 each time? So all we're doing is looking for that pattern and going, well, what's happening to the x to get to y? So here the constant of proportionality, which we call k, is actually 3. The constant of proportionality is the thing that happens to x to get y. We would say for this rule here, y equals 3x. That constant of proportionality is going to be the number in front of x. Clearly we can then use this rule to say, let's find what's y when x is 7. Yep, so y would equal 3 times 7, which is... So if we had an extra box there with a 7 in it, 21 would go underneath it. Anyway, let's do another one. So we're only going to give you one clue here and say, well, fill in the rest of the boxes. So you've got to look at that one that's filled in and go, what's happened to the 2 to get to the 4? And you're going to say it's doubling. So that means I've got to double 1 to get 2. I've got to double 3 to get 6. I've got to double 4 to get 8 and 10. What's happening from the top to the bottom? I'm multiplying by 2. So my constant of proportionality will be 2, and my rule between y and x will be y equals 2x. The constant of proportionality being the number in front of x. Clearly then I could continue to then go, what's y when x is 10? So y would equal 2 times 10, which would be 20. So we're going to use our rule to find out different values of y. Here's another one. I don't just leave the bottom blank. See how these were the blank ones before? I can leave the top ones blank as well. Again, I'm only giving you the one hint to say what's happening from the top line to the bottom line. I'm multiplying by 5. So what's 1 times 5 is 5. And then you're going to say what times 5 is 10. And you're going to say 2. What times 5 is 30? 6. And 12 times 5 is 60. You can also see that as we go along here, all of a sudden, I'm not going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're jumping around. So you need to be careful and you've got to actually use the rule. So here, what's our constant of proportionality? We're multiplying by 5. So the rule is y equals 5x. And we can say, what's y when x is 20? What goes in the box? So y will equal 5 times 20, which is 100. I could also say, let me put this in a different colour. I've already got that colour. Let's put in a 200 for y and what goes in this box here. So we can say, well, instead of y equals 5x, I know that y is 200, and I want to find out what this x is. So that's a one-step equation. I'm going to divide by 5. X equals 40. Constant or proportionality is not always just an integer. Here, look at my hint. What am I doing to 30 to get to 15? I'm halving it. So here I'm halving 20, I'm halving 10, I'm halving 84, which is going to be 42. What's my constant or proportionality? It's going to be a half. So y, what's the rule? Y equals a half x. Let's put a random number in here. Let's make x 12. So to find what goes in the box, I'm going to make this x 12. So y equals a half times 12. So y equals 6. I can also go, let's make y 20. And what goes in here? So instead of y equals a half x, I'm going to make the y 20. I'm going to get rid of this half. Because it's algebra, I'm going to write that like x on 2, and I'm going to get rid of the 2 by multiplying by it, and 40 equals x. We can see that from the table clearly, but that's our algebra. Okay. Right, worded questions. If y is directly proportional to x, and when x equals 3, then y equals 30, I've got to find the constant or proportionality. In fact, there's 4 questions there that I've got to get through, but the first one is just find the constant or proportionality. So we're going to get there, but let's go. So, key, when you see directly proportional to in the question, this is what you need to do. And you've got to read it, y is directly proportional to x, so I'm going to write it as y is directly proportional to x. This little symbol takes the place of the words directly proportional to. Yes, it looks like a fish. That's what we'll call it, the fishy thing. Okay. Our next line is going to be straight after that, therefore y equals kx. When x is 3, so I'm going to make x 3, y is 30. So I'm going to use substitution, and my task is to find out what k is, because k is this constant or proportionality. So to find k, I need to divide by 3, and here k equals 10. So what's my constant or proportionality? 10. I'm going to use that constant or proportionality to find the rule between x and y. Here's my rule here, but I don't know what k is. Hang on, I do know what k is. K is 10. So the rule between x and y, gosh, I'm clicking everywhere, is y equals 10x. Be a bit careful, even though it says between x and y, the y comes first, because remember in this question the y is directly proportional, so the y comes first. So there's my rule. Very similar to finding our rule up here. Okay, use your rule to find y when x is 7. So I want to find y, and I'm going to make x 7. So y would be 70. What's y when x is 7? Well, y is 70. And now I'm going to find my rule to find x. To find x when y is 120. So That's my rule. I'm going to make y 120. So 120 equals 10x. I want to get the x by itself, so I'm going to divide by 10. So x would equal 12. Hey, what is x when y is 120? X is 12. So we've sort of ventured away from the tables and we're more doing some algebraic setting out and justification. Don't get me wrong, tables will be in the test. So fill in a table, everything that I've done there, you've got to know. But here we're branching out into worded questions. Oh my gosh, Merry Christmas, here's another one. The distance d, so we're going to, instead of being x and y here, we've got different letters, but that's okay, we don't care. Here we've got d is directly proportional to t, so really important that we get that order right. The distance a car is moving from its starting point is directly proportional to the time it has been driving. So we can write that as d is directly proportional to t. And we're finding this constant of proportionality just like last time. Remember our next line is therefore d equals kt. And we are going to use our hint that after 2 hours, it has gone 80 kilometres. So 80 is the distance and 2 is the time. And I want k by itself, so I'm dividing by 2. K equals, hey, what's the constant of proportionality? I reckon it's 40. There it is there. That means, so we've actually written our rule here, but we don't know what k is just yet. Yep. So now that we've found k, the rule between t and d, remember the d comes first, d will equal k, which is now 40 times t. So it's that rule, and we're replacing the k with what we found k to be. D equals 40t. Now we've got the rule, use your rule to find how far the car is after 5 hours. So that's t equals 5. So sub it into the rule, and that's going to be 200. So how far has the car gone? 200 kilometres. We're also going to use this rule to find how long it will take the car to travel 120 kilometres. So that is my distance. So my distance is going to be, and t is how long will it take, and I'll get t by itself. So I'm going to divide by 40. The 40s will cancel, and that will be 3. How long will it take for the car to travel 120 kilometres? 3 hours. Sort of makes sense, doesn't it? Okay. More words, but different letters again. You just got to get used to the same process, but we're just using different letters in it. And unlike the A, B, C, D pattern there, we've just got a question. So you're going to have to get used to what the processes are and the steps to do. So the fuel, where's my highlighter? So the F comes first because it's directly proportional to D. So the first thing I'm going to do is go F is directly proportional to D. Therefore, F equals KD. I'm looking for my hints. After 123 kilometres, it's used 45 litres. So, kilometres is the distance, that's a multiply by, and the fuel is the 45 litres. I want to get K by itself, so I'm dividing by, and K equals, gosh, I can't do that in my head, can you? That's why we have calculators. 15 on 41. I don't care that it's ugly. What's the constant of proportionality? 15 over 41. You're going to leave it as a fraction because the decimal will be some big nasty thing. So can you remember what we did once we found k? We've got a rule. F equals 15 on 41 times d. There's my rule, and now I know k. Okay, what is our question? Our question is how far can it travel given its tank can hold 1,400 litres? Okay, my tank can hold 1,400 litres. How far can it go? So I want to find my d. So I'm going to multiply by 41 and divide by 15. The 41s cancel. Yes, you need to know how to do 1 and 2 step equations. And use your calculator. I can go 3,826.66 recurring. I guess I can just do that. 0.6 recurring kilometres. How far can the rocket go? 3,826 kilometres. Nice one. So you've got to get that pattern of what you do when. Do we have another one? Oh, lucky you guys. The perimeter, P, of an object is directly proportional to the length of one of its sides. So, you guessed it, P comes first, directly proportional to S. So, P is directly proportional to S. Therefore, P equals KS. We're finding our hints. When S is 3, P is 9. When S is 3, P is 9. I want K by itself. K is 3, the constant of proportionality. Here's my rule, and I don't know K, but guess what? I now know what K is, so I can state my rule. P equals 3S. Perimeter equals 3 multiplied by my side length. If the object has a perimeter of 18, what is its side length? Okay, so here we know the perimeter is 18. And I want to find this S, so I've got to divide by 3. S equals 6. So how long is my side? 6. Green. What shape is the object? Well, if I've got a side of 6 and I multiply it by 3 to get a side length, it's likely going to be an equilateral triangle. Doesn't have to be, because it could be some sort of shape like that, but I think it's going to be a triangle. Nice and simple. Oh gosh, okay. Love the words. This is a bit more abstract. We're going to read this from left to right. If y is directly proportional to x and y equals 10 when x equals 15, find k, the constant of proportionality. Okay, y is proportional to x. Therefore, y equals kx when y is 10, x is 15. I want k by itself. K equals 2/3. What's the constant of proportionality? 2/3. Okay, I'm just about done. Are you done? This is my last note. This test is about rates and ratios. There's going to be lots of simplify a ratio, there are three sorts of ratios: simplifying, finding x, and dividing in a ratio. There's also rates. Direct proportion is only one topic in this test, so make sure you cover everything in your revision for your test. Direct proportion is just one topic. But that was pretty straightforward. It's a little bit abstract, but you need to follow that exact process, please. Make sure you do all of the revision questions. Have fun.